Hi, and welcome to the CAFMA Connect. I'm your host, Fire Chief Scott Freitag, and with me today, our HR manager, Patty Brookins. And Patty, thank you for agreeing to be here.
Thank you.
It's kind of a special time, really.
Yeah, I'm your HR manager for another, about 16 hours.
Wow. You and I have been together for a little over 8 years now.
Yeah, since your beginning.
Working together. Yeah. And I remember, I think it was the first time we met, and I mentioned this earlier. I had not been in the state very long. It's the fire chief at Chino, and had been invited to present on leadership at the Captain's Academy. Yeah. And at the end of my presentation, you walked up and asked me if I'd be the chief of Central Yavapai, because that chief was out the door. And while I liked the idea, the fact of the matter was I'd just come to the state to work for Chino. So what seemed like an impossibility or improbable at the time, here we are.
Here we are.
Today, having worked together for over 8 years.
Yeah, things happen for a reason. I mean, you ended up in Chino Valley for a reason, and it all just worked.
It's worked out really well. And so I wanted to ask you to come on today because this is your last week as the HR manager. You will always be part of the CAFMA family. I think you know that.
I do.
But I just wanted to have you on to talk about what your time at CAFMA has been like, how you feel as you go into retirement, that next chapter, and what that looks like for you. I know you mentioned that Station 63 gave you a gift.
They did. They did. Those boys are so thoughtful.
Thoughtful would be one way to look at it.
Well, and
it's nice
I think
to give you the gift.
That's why I've worked so well with these people, is we both have the same sick, twisted sense of humor.
True.
I do remember you telling me one time that you didn't realize that your biggest HR problem was going to be your HR manager.
That's true.
Because of my colorful vocabulary.
Some things that are said.
Yeah. So I do have a strong relationship, and I've told the boys that I've been visiting with here the last week or two that I have really good memories with each and every one of them. There's things that stand out with each and every one of them. It's like your children. You know, you remember good things they did or really boneheaded, stupid things they did. But but you have these great memories with them. So we had dinner with these boys, and they, as we were leaving, they presented me with a gift, and I was touched. Like, wow, a gift that I did not expect a present. That's really kind. So I right before I opened the bag, one of them goes, now you understand, we like to joke, right? So they're kind of helping me understand that this is not a serious gift, Patty. Don't get all touchy about it. But it was a I don't know what you call it, a case, a package, a bag of Depends, adult diapers, and a package of Polygrip denture cream for when all my teeth fall out.
So the complaint has been filed with HR. Is that what I'm hearing?
No, I actually looked in the bag and so, wow, I bet I could use these in a couple of years. I'm going to save them.
Right.
So, because I've tried to collect memories through the years and experiences so that when I really do get old and am sitting with all the other old ladies in the lunchroom in the old folks' home, I can tell them all these stories and make them laugh so hard that the old folks' home is going to have to double their order of Depends because they're all going to be wetting themselves because they're laughing so hard.
That's a good goal in life.
That's my goal. That's my goal. And I've had some really incredible experiences, and a lot of them have come from here. So.
Well, and you and I have been through a lot. When we think back, we talked about some of them today. We can't get into details because they're personnel issues, but some of the personnel issues that you've encountered since you've been here and that I've encountered, and together we've had to work through these, and we haven't always seen eye to eye, but we've always been able to work through and come to an appropriate resolution for the person and the organization. Some of them have been very difficult, and some of them ultimately have been, will end up being the stories that you tell in the old folks home.
Right. Or that policies were created because of certain actions. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. But, I've always felt very comfortable in this environment. I've always said I'm not a decision maker, even though people attach the idea of, Patty's going to do this or Patty's going to do that. I've never been a decision maker, but I've always been the person I hope that provides you with good information, good opinions on what the rule of law says, what is appropriate in an employment law situation and in a personnel situation, so that you guys can make your best decisions. So I hope I've been able to do that.
Well, and that's important, and that's why we're putting so much into the search for the next HR manager. And I'm not going to say it's a replacement for you because no one can replace you.
Nobody talks like me. That'll be hard to find.
No, well, very few would talk like you, but that's worked out well for this organization. And quite honestly, we have a similar vocabulary.
Yeah.
We just choose to suppress it in public forums like podcasts.
Correct. Yeah, I promised I wouldn't cuss today. So.
Right. Well, you don't have to promise not to cuss completely. It's which words we use. It's choice. So, I walked into the engine bay, and Joe and I, we apologized. We were out talking to some of the firefighters that are out there. And before you were here, they're like, how do you get Patty to stay? We can't let her just leave. Patty needs to stay here and continue being part of this. And I think it's because you've not only touched each one of them, but most of these folks, you've touched their significant others in some way, their children in some way over the years. And you've just had that impact on people. How does that, when you think back at that, just beyond the position in HR dealing with the employees that are here, your interactions with their families?
Well, I've always been a people person. Mm-hmm. But I think in a human resources role, it's important that you bring that level of humanity to that. And I can't understand what an employee is going through unless I have at least some sense of what their life is like outside of work. So from the very beginning, it was important to me to at least know that whether they were married or not, or if they had children or not, or what challenges they had in their life or what kinds of things interested them. That was really important to me. And I made a point of trying to find that out about each and every person. So I'm trying to impress that upon the team that I work with. And I hope that the new manager that comes in respects that as well, because it helps you connect with them. Because if you've got some kind of personal connection with the people that you work with, when you have to have those hard conversations with them, it's a little bit easier, and it gives you some credibility.
Well, and we talk a lot about family in the fire service, and one of the things we try to do in this organization is live that. We show that in multiple different ways, and we've seen it in action when one of our employees, their son was hit by a car, when you were diagnosed with cancer and fought your battle. And you, as the HR manager, has really helped, because if we don't have an HR division that focuses on that family component of this, or doesn't understand the family part of the fire service, we're not going to be successful as an organization. And you've really guided that. Right.
If we don't see that, we're just a bunch of people, coming to work.
Right.
And I've had so many jobs through the course of my career that was just a bunch of people thrown together at work, and they really didn't care about each other. They really didn't try to get to know each other. They came, they did their job, and they left. And for them that was fine, but that wasn't fulfilling for me. That wasn't the kind of organization that I wanted to be with. And I was just so fortunate when I landed here, and what you've been able to build here, and what we as coworkers, as family members, have been able to do for each other.
It's been an amazing team environment trying to create that culture. And so when we look at that next HR manager, we're looking for someone that understands what it truly means when we say family in the fire service, family within the CAFMA organization. And so honestly, any of the candidates looking to apply for our position should probably watch this podcast with you.
Possibly. It might help. Because
what your
again,
thoughts are.
And I want the organization to bring in somebody that's going to take our human resource work to the next level.
Right.
I've done work here that I'm really proud of, and I feel really good about it. Did I do everything I wanted to do? Of course not. And did I do everything that you wanted me to do? No, I didn't. But I would really like to see somebody come in, make it their own, and take the organization to another level of respect and of integrity beyond what we've been able to build already.
And I think that speaks volumes to the culture of the organization, beyond the family component. But, we talk about that a lot in development and leading other people. And that's knowledge is power only if you share it. And the idea that don't silo yourself and not share information, because when you leave, then there's a vacuum, a sucking sound that goes with you, because the institutional knowledge leaves. And what we should be doing is building people to come in and do a better job than we could. And I'm confident that when I leave my position, that someone else is going to come in and they're going to do a better job than I can. They're going to take this organization to a level that is beyond my vision and foresight at this point, or beyond my ability. And that's why I need to share what I have and what I'm doing, so that when somebody comes in after me, they're like, okay, we saw that. Now
let's try
understanding
this.
it, let's try this.
Yeah. And the two people that work on my team are understandably nervous. Change is scary, but I want to help them see that this is an opportunity, that, I have my way of doing things, but that's my way and I'm not here anymore. So when someone else comes in, that's the opportunity to throw out new ideas or try different things or bring things in a different direction. And I see it as a way to empower them to help create work that they feel much more valued at and good at.
Well, can you share one of those funny stories that with whatever is appropriate? Because believe it or not, there are some things that happen that are funny but not appropriate. What was something that was just for you very memorable that just makes you smile each time you think about it?
Well, there's so much, and I think that some of the biggest things, the biggest impacts for me and my family was when I was diagnosed with cancer in 2017. You're terrified when you hear that word. And then they tell you, well, it's stage 3 and we don't know if we can catch it. It makes it even worse, So my husband and I talked about it, and our first thought was, okay, we're going to have to navigate this. But then the next thought was, I'm going to lose my job. Because I'm looking at a year-long treatment regimen, I'm going to lose my job. And on the heels of that was, I'm going to lose my insurance, And I came and talked with you, talked with Chief Tharp, and revealed my diagnosis. And you instantly brought comfort to us by saying, don't worry about that. Let's just take it one day at a time and move forward. Concentrate on your treatment, and let's move forward. And very quickly, people started dumping time. Chief, can I donate time? I want to donate time. And these people donated over 500 hours of their vacation time so that I wouldn't miss a paycheck during the time that I was in treatment, which to me spoke volumes. But some of the funnier things of that whole cancer thing was when I started chemotherapy and started losing my hair, we came up with the idea to do a head shaving party. So I wouldn't feel so alone being the only bald person here. I mean, we do have some good bald people naturally, but other people wanted to shave their heads in support. So we had this event, had a ton of people, probably 100 firefighters that were there, and most of them shaved their heads. Some of them I got to shave their heads.
Right.
You were out that day, but I have pictures of you, I think about a week later, where I was shaving your head in the driveway. We had firefighters that were on camping trips, and they shaved their heads and filmed it and sent me pictures. I had guys in stations that couldn't come that were shaving their heads and filming it and sending it to me. So that kind of support when you're facing a life-threatening disease was huge in my recovery.
Absolutely.
Was knowing that these people were here for me. And the funny things, the things they made me laugh at my bald head, at my no eyebrows. I look like an alien,
I still have that picture of you and I in my desk. I see it every once in a while. I open the drawer, and there it is after you shave my head.
Yeah. And so,
we're
some
standing
people,
next to each other.
Yep. You're bald, I'm bald, and we're smiling. And what more can you say? That's awesome.
Well, it was better then, because then I actually had more hair.
It took a little longer than it would today, right?
Yeah, I got a haircut last night before we did this, and I was looking in the monitor Jonah has over there. I'm like, I paid for them to patty shave my head last time. It worked really well.
So yeah, but here we are 5 years later, and that's a distant memory, but a good, strong memory. We were joking the other night because during that time I needed to be hydrated a few times, and so the engine would come to the house and hydrate me. But the medics that were setting up the IV were terrified. Oh, this is Patty, and their hands are shaking. And these are people that are trained professionals, and they save lives every day, and they're terrified to give me an IV.
It's because of who you are.
Well, they were nervous, but they were there to help me.
It's hard when you have to work on family.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why it's better when you have an outside third party that works on your family. And And that was a stressful time for you and Bill. Yeah. And I think things worked out as far as work goes.
It was
there was
fabulous.
A laptop. You
it was
could
incredible.
Work from home when you needed.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was actually, I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago, I looked back at our scheduling system, Telestaff, and looked to see, I was in treatment for 40 weeks, and I actually logged work time for 39 of those 40 weeks. And the only week I didn't have time was the week I had surgery. And I was out of it that week.
Yeah. We don't need you working on anything.
So again, the flexibility and the latitude that CAFMA that you all gave me to be able to do that really contributed to me being able to get through that and laugh about it still now.
Well, I would hope most organizations would take that same approach with someone that comes in with a terrifying diagnosis, a battle that they have to fight, that they would rally around them and protect their position, give them opportunities, and really just try to take care of them. I mean, that's what good organizations
and unfortunately
do, in my
a
opinion.
lot don't for a variety of reasons. Either don't because that's not their culture, or don't because they just don't want to.
Right.
So I was really fortunate to be here at that time of my life to be able to have that kind of support. But other times there funny stories. Again, lots of them I can't relate. But funny stories, sad stories. I've been blessed to be able to sit and hold the hand of somebody that's struggling and help people. And there's no better feeling than knowing that just being there and hugging somebody maybe helped them a little bit through something that they were doing. I know a lot of my HR peers have a no touching policy.
Right.
That doesn't work for me. I hug everybody.
I don't think you've had that. No,
I hug everybody.
And I don't know how to say this. We have no touching policies, but no inappropriate.
Correct.
Touching.
Correct. Don't touch in anger.
Yeah, don't touch in
love.
Anger.
And don't touch in too much love. So.
Well, and as we learned from COVID too, don't lick other people. Random
or doorknobs.
people.
Yeah.
Don't lick random people.
Yeah.
Or doorknobs.
Yeah. But no, it's I've been really fortunate. I landed here. I had been invited to leave a job at Grand Canyon in the
That's a good way to put it.
Well, I was fired. But they'd had an administration change, a management change, and my philosophy was different than the new director. And so she politely invited me, and it was very cordial and very nice. Right. And they gave me a 6-month severance, which was huge, So it gave me a lot of time to decide what it was we wanted to do. And I actually came down here. We had a home down here, so we came down here and applied for this job. And it was down to 2 candidates, myself and another gentleman. And ultimately, they hired the other gentleman. So I was very disappointed because I thought it'd be kind of fun to work at the fire department, So I went off looking for other stuff to do, found another job. And about 9 months later, the then executive assistant chief person called and said, we fired that other person. Are you still interested in the job?
That didn't work out very well for
So
them.
I was the second choice here. So we've had a couple other employees that were second choices when they got hired, and they were pretty bummed about that.
Right.
And I relayed that story to him, and I said, don't feel bad because someone was chosen before you. It just means the timing wasn't right,
Well, as you talked about earlier, things happen for a reason. And what we found is that our first choice in some of these cases was the wrong choice.
Right.
And the second choice turned out better than we could have ever imagined. I mean, exceeding any expectations that we had. And I think that's where you come in. That's where some of the others that come in, where we offer positions to different people, and for whatever reason, they opted not to take them. And so we made the call and have never looked back. Like, this should have been our first choice without question.
Right. I mean, it is such a tenuous kind of process to hire people. You want to do the best you can, but you're looking at people in their date phase, and they're trying to show you their best side, and so it's difficult sometimes to ferret through and really get to know who that person is.
Right.
Which is why we do so many interviews. I know it's tedious on candidates sometimes to have to come back for a second interview and a third interview and a chief's interview, but those are all important to help find the right fit for the organization, somebody that's going to have that same level of dedication and commitment, that's going to fit with our quirky kind of weird little work group, and be happy, because ultimately that's what you want. You want people to be comfortable and happy and feel valued in their work. So,
well, it's interesting that you talk about that, because when I came in today, I already told you I was talking to a couple of firefighters, and they were expressing concern with your leaving, and then we started talking a little bit about the executive recruitment process and what that looks like, and they actually said, you know what, I feel a little bit more comforted now, because I didn't understand how that process was going to work to make sure that we get the right fit for the organization. And it's going to be significant. I mean, thankfully, you don't have to go through this process we've set up, because it's going to be trying. It's
going to be intimidating, and you're right. It's going to be trying, especially for people that might be considering coming here from out of state. But if they're watching, it's a necessary process for us to find, because we don't want someone to come in and not be comfortable and decide in 6 months that, hey, this was a mistake, I shouldn't have done this. Because they're looking at us just as much as we're looking at them. So.
Well, and we don't mean trying by, hey, put this widget together in 5 seconds. It's not that.
No. It's getting to know them, right?
Right. It's getting to know them, because the executive recruiting firm is doing the national search. They'll do the initial review of the resumes, some initial interviews, and then whoever we invite for the final interviews, there's going to be a meet and greet that we're going to invite CAFMA families to meet the person. There's going to be at least 4 separate interview panels. So there'll be a manager's interview panel, because this person has to integrate and work with a team that you've been working with of other managers, and provide services to those other managers. It's a unique situation. There's going to be a panel of line personnel from operations and non-operations, the people who would interact with the HR manager when they have a concern or an issue, or just help with something. I don't understand this with my retirement or my benefits. I'm confused. And God knows it won't be the firefighter who's confused with the benefits. It'll be their significant other, because we're not responsible enough to deal with those at all. Yeah, we don't know. And then there's going to be a panel, I think, of some community leaders that come in, and then a chief's panel. And there's possibly one other panel. I'm toying with that right now. We'll have to see. We'd also like to give them an opportunity where we take them on a tour. So it could technically be 2 days worth of interview panels, but we're not trying to trick anybody. We're trying to get to know them and make sure that they're a right fit for the organization and get that input from all different levels.
Right. As much for them as for the organization.
It is. We don't want somebody coming in and saying, oh my gosh, I didn't know this about your organization. No, if you want to know something about CAFMA, that information's out there. You Google us, and you're going to find our website, our web pages, our social media. You're going to find really good articles about us. You're going to find articles that aren't so flattering about us. It just depends on your perspective, and if you can wade through that and decide, is this an organization that truly lives the values that they espouse? Right.
I think that's important, and that's good. I mean, I don't want to say I'm regretful at leaving. I'm anxious and ready to leave, ready to start retirement. My husband's been retired for a long time, and he's been anxiously waiting for me to come home. He's like that chihuahua at the door. When are you coming in? When are you coming in? So he's ready for me to spend time with him. I'm ready to spend time with him. And we just have a lot of things that we want to do before we get too old to do them.
So what are some of those things? We're
going to Disneyland.
Well, really?
Yeah, we're going to Disneyland in a couple of weeks. My grandnieces, who one I haven't met and the other I haven't seen since she was 4, are taking us to Disneyland in a couple of weeks.
Oh, very nice.
So we're gonna have a wonderful time with them. We had planned on taking we have a fifth wheel, and we planned on taking that to Alaska and spending the summer in Alaska until we either got bored or it got too cold. But there's some border requirements that make it difficult for us to travel. And there's the price of fuel that's making it much more expensive for us to travel. So we put that trip on hold. Hopefully we can do that next year. Instead we bought, and I think this is really cool, an Amtrak rail pass, a 30-day rail pass. So we can get on the train in Flagstaff and go anywhere we want on Amtrak for up to 30 days.
Oh, wow. That's
so we're just going to do we're very nomadic in the sense of we don't like planned vacations.
Right.
We like the hey, this looks interesting, let's go here, or stop and ask somebody, where would you go if you were going to Minot, North Dakota? Oh, you got to see this, and we'll go see that.
Very cool.
And so that's our summer plan.
And you have to find places, diners, where you can get the best bacon.
We're fans of Yelp. We read when we're traveling. We love road trips and reading all about great places to go. We were on a road trip up in Montana one time, and I was looking on Yelp for where we can go for lunch and found this place with great reviews, really great reviews. So, okay, that's where we're going. Plugged it into the GPS. We drive into this scuzzy-looking truck stop. I mean, just bottom of the
Some
pile.
of the best food ever.
Scuzzy-looking truck stop. I thought, okay, well, we're going to try it. It's got great reviews. So we went in, and on their little whiteboard by the door, the lunch special that day was fried bologna sandwich. So that's what my husband had for lunch. I had something else that was delightful. It was very, very good food. And he said it was the best fried bologna sandwich he'd ever had.
I mean, I grew up eating fried bologna sandwiches, so it's not bad.
But yeah, we love restaurants. We love food, obviously, and we just love adventure. One of the things that we also have planned to do, people in retirement say, okay, here's my bucket list. I'm going to see every national park, or I'm going to visit every state, or whatever, So my husband and I met in jail and got married in jail. And so we decided that our retirement bucket list is to visit every state prison in all 50 states. So we've actually already got 3 of them checked off.
Right.
So
what were you in for?
8 to 10. So we're gonna see state prisons. So on our train trip, we'll do a little research. If there's a stop we can get off of and there's a prison close by, we'll rent a car and we'll go. Every prison has a visitor center, believe it or not. And we'll go to the visitor center, go take a picture in front of the prison and see if we can get a nice little scrapbook of 50 prisons. Another thing for the old ladies in the nursing home to laugh at.
It'd be a great story again, because you lead off with, we met in prison.
And got married.
Got married, but you were both employees.
Yes, we were.
Of the prison.
Yes, we were.
Not.
Yes, we were. There's a lot of words for them. We
not
were
residents.
Guards, turnkeys, screws, bulls. There's all kinds of. And I learned a lot of my colorful language in working in jail.
I could see where that would happen.
Yeah.
But you also learn not to put up with a lot of BS, which is what you get from firefighters typically.
So the transition from the jail to a real job was really kind of difficult for me. I went from the jail to the clerk of the Superior Court's office. Okay. Working with judges and attorneys, tracking pleadings and taking care of court files, and just doing all the behind the scenes work that has to go into place for court to happen. And I had a really difficult time when someone would kind of get me upset. Right. Excited, because I had spent 8 years where somebody got me excited and I grabbed him by the shirt and I yelled at him in cursing words, and sometimes he might fall to the ground.
People trip.
Yeah, and I couldn't do that in the courthouse
you showed
with
great
the attorneys.
Restraint here
it
in
was
HR.
Hard. It was difficult for me to make that transition for the first year or two, to realize that, okay, I have to filter.
Because sometimes that may be a better way to get across to somebody. Stop doing stupid things.
Right. And I've never really understood it, and a couple other employees that have the same kind of reputation, jacket we called it in the jail, of people are scared of me. And I never understood why people were scared of me. And I don't know if they're scared because of they know what I could potentially do, but I'm a kind, loving person.
I know.
And I hug everybody.
Absolutely.
You know?
Some tighter than others.
Right.
Some maybe higher up with the arms.
But anyway, that's been kind of interesting through my career. So a lot of people tell me they're afraid of me.
Two things before we close it out. One, I've got something for you from my mom.
I have to tell you a story about your mom. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I wanted to know if you had a closing message, some closing words that you would like to share with the members of CAFMA.
So I think so, yeah. At the bottom of my emails that nobody ever reads,
True.
From literally the day I got here, I have a little tagline. You know, people put little inspirational things at the bottom of their emails, and I have the words that say, "Be silly, be honest, be kind," and I have really tried to live that. That it's okay to be goofy, it's okay to tell somebody you love them, make it weird and be fun, but be honest. You know, be trustworthy, and be kind. You know, I've had to call lots of people and give them bad news about you didn't get the job, you didn't pass the test. But
you don't work here anymore.
Exactly. But I've always felt that you needed to do it with kindness. A quick story, someone was being terminated, and I had gone to their home to deliver the termination documents and things I needed signed. Well, again, coming from the jail, I'm not stupid. I'm delivering difficult news to a person that potentially could be angry. So I brought a couple people with me, a couple of the firefighters. So they drove me over there, and they waited in the car while I helped this gentleman through his paperwork, and he was fine and very cordial, and I was kind to him. And at the end of our talk, he hugged me, because I hug everybody.
Sure.
And he initiated it. I didn't, push it. He initiated it, and we had a nice hug, and I wished him well and sent him on his way. And I climbed back in the truck with the other two chiefs that were with me, and they looked at me and they said, "Man, that was ruthless." So what do you mean ruthless? You fire a guy and then you hug him? So they decided that anytime Patty hugged anybody, they had something to worry about because they were going to get fired.
It's like kind of the kiss in the mafia.
Yeah,
right? You mark your target.
Exactly. So I carried that around for a while. They teased me quite a bit about that.
Oh, funny.
But your mom, a quick story about your mom.
Okay.
Everybody has a mom, but I didn't know you had a mom. I'd never met your mom.
Right.
And I don't even remember what the situation was. We had a situation where I think we were doing a hiring process. And I had wanted to go a certain way, and you weren't sure about that. You weren't entirely really comfortable with that. And so the next day you came in and you said, I talked to my HR expert, and I think that's going to be okay. We're going to go ahead and do what you wanted to do. And I find out later your HR expert is your mom. And I thought, well, that's brilliant. He's got his own HR expert in his back pocket. That's awesome. And then I met your mom, and what a delightful woman. And we have struck up a friendship and enjoy talking back and forth to each other. And she's on my list of people to see. I've already seen the prison in Missouri, in Jefferson City.
Yeah.
But I may go back just to have an opportunity to go spend a little time with your mom. What a nice
based
person.
on the way Missouri's going, there's more people in that prison right now. At least from the city of St. Louis. My mom is a very caring person. And
yes, she is.
So she was texting me incessantly, and my wife, about your retirement. And my response quite often was, "I don't know. Let me ask." Or reach out to Bill. Bill has that information. I don't have it. And but I knew what she was trying to do, so I was trying to get her what I could. And so she sent the package to me, and I brought it here today. And I asked you this morning because you're doing me a favor opening it on the podcast. Because one, Jonah, this will be at least one view this week. Because
your
mom will watch. But as I shared with you, when I tell her, "Hey, I gave Patty your gift," she's going to say, "Well, what'd she say?
How'd she like it?
How'd she like it? You know what? Let's just cut the middle person out and have you open it here.
I would love that. And Dottie has sent me some great things already.
Didn't she send you a bunch of Tootsie Rolls once?
She sent me a pair of socks. I love HR socks.
Yes.
Who's got those? I do
Yeah.
now. She sent me this beautiful vase that
I think my dad made
your
it.
dad made.
The wood, yeah.
I'm sorry, and that's in my office.
Right.
So, Dottie, thank you. So, if I read the card, will it make me cry?
It's possible.
Okay.
Usually when she writes things like that.
Oh my gosh. Oh, Dottie. Oh my goodness. Did you know what this was?
I had an idea because she was asking me for pictures, and I'm like,
I don't know if you can see this
don't
very
have
well.
them.
This is my favorite memories. It has pictures of my head shaving. It has pictures of us as Firefighter Angel. It has my family. It has me and you bald up here. Oh my gosh, this is beautiful. Hugging Chief Rose.
something for your new home.
Oh my gosh, that's beautiful, Dottie. Thank you. Oh, what a great surprise. So, should I read the card here?
If you'd like to. I'm sure it's long, knowing my mom. You want to know where I got my words from? I mean, not the cuss words because she doesn't do that.
You do have a lot of words.
Yeah, I have a lot of words.
Okay, I won't read the Hallmark words, but I'll read your mom's words if I can open the card. Oh, here we go. With much love and best wishes. Patty, I bet you were wondering where the time has gone with being recently retired myself, and she and I have talked about that. I have to say, I don't think we're older. Do you? At least not in all the ways that count. True. I wanted to give you something that would help you remember the many good times you had during your time with the fire service. I hope this collage will not only be a constant reminder of the lives you touched, but also remind you just how much you meant to so many. I know Scott's felt privileged to work with you during his time in Arizona, and through him, we've become friends through our common HR backgrounds. I'm blessed to know you. I'm blessed to know you, too. I hope your retirement is everything you've ever hoped it would be as you leave for the next chapter of your life. Of this one thing you can be assured, you will be missed and the love of many goes with you. Your position can be filled, but you cannot be replaced. Always remembered, you mattered. With love and God's blessings, Dottie Freitag. And isn't that what you always want in a job, is to know that you mattered. You did, even if it's just for one person. You made a difference for one person.
And that's what we said today. You're not being replaced. Can't replace you.
Well, I am grateful beyond words for the time that I've had here. It's going to be hard to leave, but I'm grateful.
Well, I know you declined an exit interview, so to speak. Yet here we are closing out the podcast, and I just want to say thank you.
Well, thank you. Yeah. Like I said, it's been opportunities beyond what I ever could have imagined would happen for me in my professional growth, the things I've gotten to do, the things the organization has supported, and that mean everything to me. And that's, thank you.
Well, and I do want to say as well that you and Bill are the best Mr. and Mrs. Claus ever. And I'd like to point out that the Valley is not as good at Christmas as the Quad Cities, especially here. And you're now living in a retirement community, so there's not kids. So really your options are to come back up here as Mr. and Mrs. Claus and come up throughout the year because it gets hot. So you're going to come back for
We're going to be back, yeah.
Absolutely.
And we're still, as long as they'll have us, and as long as we can haul our sorry carcasses up into the fire engine, we'll keep doing Mr. and Mrs. Claus. So.
We'll find a way to get you in.
Yeah.
So, Patty, again, thank you so much for coming on today. This has been great. Jonah, maybe the fact that Patty's here will get more people to watch it, at least internally, because the tens of viewers that we have are pretty light. I'll
get all my retirement community neighbors to watch, so you'll get a whole new group of fans.
I mean, the upside is you can share with them, hey, we never know what's going to come out of his mouth.
So you might want to watch every week. Yeah.
I actually refrained from making a smart remark about Canada. You were so politically correct the way that you stated why you weren't going to Alaska right now.
Yeah.
Because you have to pass through Canada, and Canada's pretty backwards.
Canada does not want us.
No.
So that's fine. I won't spend my money there.
That's exactly right. But Well, have fun.
Thank you.
Until next week,
Thank you.
remember to hit like and subscribe. Tell other people to watch or listen to the podcast. So, I don't know, beg. Yeah, beg. If we could get like 100 viewers, do we get an award?
I
a
heard
prestigious award?
I heard you were on C-SPAN last week, though. So did that increase viewership?
It did not. And
rats.
I've been chastised by Jonah because I don't typically watch the podcast because I'm on it. So I know what it is. And like many of you, I don't like seeing my face or hearing my voice. So, and not repeated
Not
anywhere.
true.
So, all right. Well, thank you all very much.
Thank
Have
you.
a great week.
Thanks.